Beautifully Imbalanced by DaShay Carter. This episode is going to be about boundaries. So I'm doing a boundaries series. I did a video talking about the different types of boundaries all together, and now I'm breaking them down individually. So today's video will be about physical boundaries, and we'll walk through that together. But before we start off, I want to talk about my brand. This sweater was a custom one. And it's hard to see because of the way the light is hitting. But it says, "You are the sun," and it has my birthday in Roman numerals and my name underneath it, with a crown. Cause honey, I'm a queen. But then it has kind of a celestial half of a sun at the top. And I made this. If you are a Grey's Anatomy fan, there's a scene and it gives me chills, and I remind myself of this all the time. There's a scene and Yang tells Meredith, he's very dreamy, but he's not the sun. You are the sun. And I remember when I was going through my breakup, I had to remind myself that, because I have this thing, because of my anxious attachment style, and because of my trauma, because I felt unwanted and unloved. I always felt so lucky to be wanted or to be in a relationship. And so coming to the end of my relationship, I had to remind myself that. I had to remind myself who I am so that I can continue leaving that relationship to do what's best for me. And so that is my reminder. Now that I'm out of the relationship, it reminds me when I'm feeling like I'm having those days where I'm like, what are you doing? Why are we here? When I'm having those days where either I forget my purpose or I forget who the fuck I am. And I need that reminder. You are the sun. That's who you are. You're the moon too, you all of it. You are, I have to remind myself of my skills and my gifts, and I am a megaphone, and I have a voice, and my voice is powerful, and this is who I am. I am the sun. So that's what this one. This is a custom piece that I made. Like I said, I needed it. There will be a collection coming soon on the website. You are the sun. The thing is, I have to start talking about it because I made this a long time ago, and I was gonna start the collection then. But the thing is, if no one, a lot of my phrases are kind of like easy for people to understand without me telling a story. This one is more so you kind of got to tell a little bit of story. But it's becoming more popular now because people are still watching Grey's, because the new seasons they're still running. So I think they're on season like 18, maybe 20. I stopped because I get carried away and I have so much that I want to do, and I can't be lost in Meredith land, because I will. Because Shonda Rhimes knew what she was doing, okay? With all three of them shows, she had me hooked with that and How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal, all of them, okay? So I had to recenter, okay? So that is my brand. My brand is a collection of clothing. There's over 12 collections made up of phrases and affirmations that have helped me on my self-love journey and have helped others just from me talking to them about my brand and me and them purchasing clothing and things like that. So I have a couple of phrases. My very first ones were love your body every step of the journey. Oh, my hair kind of fits in this little. Okay, anyways, love your body every step of the journey. I'm not for everyone. I built me. Those were the three first ones, and those are like, I don't say the best sellers, but those were the ones that I was like, that was when I was making clothes at home and taking them to vendor events. Now I have a website so you can shop online. But yes, it's great. It uh like I said, it helped me when I didn't know. I didn't have a therapist. um I didn't have a support system. I was pretty isolated. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had two, I have two kids. And I didn't know why I felt like shit, but I knew that I needed to come out of it. And so I had a heat press. I had a vinyl cutter. Sorry, it's up there. I'm looking at it. And so I said, I can't keep trying to just say this affirmation and hope it's going to do something. I said, I need to put it on a shirt. I need to see it every day. I need to see it throughout the day. I need to see it. And that's what happens. Even when you even when you're not reading it, you're reading it unconsciously. And the way I tell people is, how many times do you go to the bathroom a day? A lot. Okay. Especially if you're on your water intake, honey, which you should be. Mm. So when you go in there, you see the affirmation as a reflection in the mirror. You know what the shirt says. Unconsciously, you're reading it. It's embedding in your life. And when you need it, when you're going through something and you need it, it will come to your mind. That's the beautiful thing about affirmations, is when you put them in your mind, they will come to you when you need them. So if I have "I'm not for everyone" on my shirt, I'm wearing that, when I need to. Let's say I wore it once a week, and then I come across a situation and I have, let's not even make it personal. I have an issue with a customer. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I'm not going to kiss ass. I'm not going to suck up. I'm not going to belittle myself or disrespect myself just to keep this customer. I'm not for everyone. And if I can't figure out how to make this situation work with my customer, or if they're asking for is outside of what I provide, and they're being rude and disrespectful, these are not my people. This is not my tribe. This is not my audience. I'm not for everyone. And that's okay. Period. It comes to you when you need it. And that's the beautiful thing about affirmations. That's the beautiful thing about getting it in your mind, and having that positive communication with yourself. So that's what my brand is all about, my clothing brand. So check it out. The other thing is, on this channel, we do a lot of deep talks. I dive in. I do my best not to hold anything back, especially when it comes to my story, because I feel like there's so many people out there who have experienced a lot of the same things that I have experienced, and have been taught to keep quiet. That's what you're taught. That's what we're taught about a lot of this stuff. Or we have spoke up and there was nothing done, or just a lot of things that make us feel like this is a hush hush thing. Be quiet, be secretive about it, or we should be ashamed of it, or we're dirty or nasty or whatever. And so on this channel, I like to provide someone to talk to, because you may hear this and feel like, okay, well, she's giving me how to do it, but I just can't really figure out how to apply it, or I need more. You may need more. There is a woman that I trust, with my mental health, with my situations, and her name is Char. She's known on social media as Says What She Wants, and she is very powerful. She has spiritual gifts, and she has education and experience, and so she uses all three of those together, and is very, very helpful. So I just want to give you guys that resource as someone you can reach out to when you need to. I'm also available to talk on Patreon. I also have an email now for the channel. Yeah, the face was necessary. I have an email now for the channel, so you can email me any questions you may have, or on a certain topic, or something you're going through, and we can power through it together. and move from there. But I speak at this time in my life, I speak strictly from experience. I am in school for psychology, but I don't want to say I'm not even halfway done, but I'm not. I have my AA and I'm going to school for my bachelor's. I will not have my bachelor's to 2027. So that's just being completely honest with you guys. Um, but like I said, my experience and the way I work through things is powerful, or I wouldn't have started this podcast. Okay, so let me talk about our challenges, because we do some work. The podcast here is where I share my story and how I healed and how I worked through things. But the the Patreon account is where we do challenges. That's where we do the work. That's where we do the monthly challenges, but we also have daily affirmations. We have a chat room, chat rooms. Do they even call it chat rooms anymore? We have spaces for you to chat about different topics. So trauma, grief, boundaries, things like that. For us, it's an open, safe space. For us to have those kind of conversations. I also have resources there for you guys to learn more about yourself and get to know who you are, and things of that sort. So we are in the month of June as I'm recording this video. The June challenge is going well. We started out with 5, and now we have 2, including me would be 3. But it's going beautifully, and the 2 that are in there are committed. And so if you are watching this now and you are interested in the challenge, go look at it, because it should still be there, depending upon when you look at it. Because honey, in July I'm tucking away. The June challenge was free, so all of that stuff is in there. When you go to the Patreon account, everyone has access to it. It's public. But in July, I'm going to tuck it away. And in July, I will start the first paid challenge. And it's also going to be a daily challenge. These are both daily challenges for us to really kickstart that unlock your self-love, that vision of ourselves and taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves. And it's well thought out. And it's beautiful. And like I said, the progress that I've seen in these women is lovely. So we're coming towards the end. Well, we're in the middle of June, and July is right around the corner. And so July, not only will I be doing the first paid challenge, it's only $10, you guys. Anyways, not only will I be doing the first paid challenge, but I will also be doing my very first free webinar. And the webinar will be on, sorry, I lost my train of thought real quick, because I'm used to doing this on my phone, but I'm doing it on my laptop right now. And so the time is right in front of me. And I'm like, wow, I've been talking for 13 minutes. But anyways, the webinar is on how to unlock your self-love by healing your inner child. So I go through 3 steps. I think my eyes are dry. I feel like I'm blinking a lot. I go over 3 steps of healing your inner child to unlock your self-love. And the webinars will be every other month. So July, September, November. Oh, excuse me. September, November. Every other month, period. So that link will be in the description. So check the links in the description. The Patreon will be there. The Patreon is where the challenge is, the chats, and the daily affirmations. The webinar link will be in the comments as well. Just check those links in the description. There's a lot of stuff in there for you guys. There's information in there as well. The website, the clothing brand, all of that will be in there. Also in July, I will be launching a new design for the Worthy Always. Actually, 2 new designs for the Worthy Always collection. And this collection is so full. I made a bag, a hat, I think I made a visor. I even made hoodies. I was like, DaShay, it's summertime. Don't worry about no more hoodies. You got all these hoodies and crew necks. No, I made a hoodie and windbreaker and a muscle shirt and a this and a that. So I'm excited for that. If you head over to the Carter Love LLC Instagram, there's some sneak peeks on there. Um, so I'm excited. I'm excited. There's a lot coming in July, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's, hop into this. Sorry, I'm trying to get my glasses on because, honey, it's a lot of blinking. I look like a nerd, yes. Okay, just deal with it. All right, so before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you can be notified every time I post a video. Now we are talking about physical boundaries. Physical boundaries. So I wrote down a definition that I got off of the East Bay website, and a physical boundary is physical touch and personal space. Okay. Healthy physical boundaries include an awareness of what is appropriate and what is not in various settings and types of relationships. So, what's okay for a friend to do may not be okay for a partner to do. So that's like the setting, right? Wait, did I say partner? What is okay for a friend to do may not be okay for a coworker. I don't know if I said partner or coworker, but coworker is what I meant to say. So a business setting is not the same. The physical contact that you'll have in a business setting is not going to be the same as what you would have in a friend group, right? So that's just something to keep in mind to help you wrap your brain around physical boundaries, and what we allow and what we accept and what we're willing to accept. And it's all based on you. I think my kids are coming. Okay. It's based on you and what you're comfortable with. So it might even change with individuals. Like, you may be comfortable hugging this coworker, but you don't want to hug that other coworker. And you're not obligated to hug anybody. You're not obligated to touch anybody. It's a you thing. It's what's comfortable for you. And sometimes we don't want to be awkward, or we don't want people to feel like this or that. But how do you feel? Because you don't want to say, I hug this coworker, but I'm hugging this coworker just because I don't want to leave him out. But how does it make me feel? So it's not an obligation. You're not obligated to anybody but yourself, honey. So those are things to keep in mind when you think about physical boundaries, because it's about keeping you safe and making you feel loved and worthy. And when you do things that you don't want to for other people, it sends a message to yourself about you. And so just keep those things in mind. So why are they important? Why are these boundaries important? They're important for that, what I just said, to protect you and to allow you to have relationships with others, but still put yourself first and still love on yourself. Because the thing is, other people don't know what makes you uncomfortable, and even if they do know what makes you uncomfortable, it's not up to them to stand up for your comfort. It's up to you. You live in your body, and you know how you heal and how you grow, and what makes you uncomfortable and what doesn't, and this doesn't make me uncomfortable anymore. I outgrew that. And what you know how you grow and move. Okay, I can't because the glasses, I feel like, are my eyes. I'm sorry, I don't like the light with the glasses. Okay, so it's important that you stand up for yourself and that you set these boundaries. Because like I said, it shows a love for you. And honestly, when you begin to set boundaries, it deepens your love for yourself. It does, because you're like, wow. And for me, it's my inner child. My inner child is like, wow, she really is. She's staying true to her word. She's protecting me. She's loving me. She's putting me first. And those are all things that my inner child is afraid of. because I didn't have that as a kid. I didn't have the protection. I didn't feel loved. I felt unworthy of love. I felt like my purpose was to please others. And so when I please myself and I put myself first, my inner child is like, wow, she's keeping her word. She's loving me. She's protecting me. She's doing what she's supposed to. She's showing up for me. And it deepens that connection and it heals her. So that's why it's important. So the next question is, why are they so hard? Why are boundaries so hard? Why are they so hard? And they're hard because we live in a society where it's like wrong to be selfish. It's wrong. Like, people feel like when we put ourselves first, it's like, oh, she had the audacity to not even think to do this for me. Honey, I come first, damn it. So boundaries are challenging because of emotions. We don't want to hurt the next person's feeling by setting this boundary because this is something that they like to do. Or we don't want to deal with the emotion of hurting someone else's feelings, the guilt from hurting someone else's feelings after setting that boundary. Or we don't want to deal with the awkwardness of the having to say it, right? And what has helped me, what has started helping me is, one, I'm willing to deal with a little bit of that discomfort, because once I set the boundary and I keep enforcing the boundary, once I do that, I'm at ease, because now I've not only have I stood up for myself, but I also don't have to deal with my boundaries being pushed. I don't have to deal with the discomfort of someone touching me, you know? So that has helped me. But also just knowing that it doesn't have to be awkward. And even if it is, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all human. And so I may be afraid to tell someone a boundary, but at the end of the day, they're human. They have no control of my fate, of my goals, of my this, of my that. They're simply human, just like I am. We're all human living in a shared space. And so if they are upset and I need to give them space, that's cool. But at the end of the day, I need what I need for me, for us to grow together, or for us to continue on this friendship. I need you to respect my boundaries, period. And it's easier said than done. Yes, all of these things are. Or else everyone would have healthy boundaries. But it's necessary. It is. And I know it's, like I said, for me, sorry, I'm waiting. I'm trying to balance my notebook. We shouldn't have to live in discomfort just to make someone else comfortable. And that is something that I'm working on heavily, because I've been doing that vocally. And that's a video for another day, honey. But it's a realization, and it applies to many situations. We should not have to be uncomfortable to make the next person comfortable because we feel like we're being rude or impolite, because we have boundaries, because we want to protect ourselves, because we want to love ourselves, because there's things that we are just not okay with. I'm not okay with you poking me. Don't poke me. Especially if you are a male and I'm turned and I don't see you. Don't poke me. It's happened. That's why I bring it up. That's not something I'm comfortable with. Especially if you're poking me in my lower back and it's too close to my ass. I'm sorry. Don't poke me. It's not comfortable. It's not appropriate. To me. To other people, they might think it's playful and fun and they laugh it off. To me, it's not comfortable. So everyone has their own physical boundaries, and it's something that needs to be said. Now, one thing that I have learned um, is sometimes not saying it, sometimes saying it verbal doesn't work, verbally saying the boundary, but creating the space. And that's something that my therapist taught me, and we'll go a little bit deeper into that when we get to that portion. But ultimately, the discomfort in having the conversation is not going to last long. It won't. And it's better than the discomfort of you not saying anything at all. Um, and it, like I said, you're just going to feel so much better once you set the boundary, and your inner child is going to love you for it. Because I don't know whatever you are healing from or whatever your inner child is feeling. But everyone likes feeling protected and reassured, and your inner child is going to love you for it, and that connection is going to just grow, and like I said, your love for yourself is going to deepen. Boundaries are that powerful because we allow so many people in our space, so many people to I don't want to say disrespect, but we allow a lot because we're trying to keep the peace, or we're trying to be polite, or nurse relationships. But the thing is, relationships need to be challenged to keep growing, or they'll just remain stagnant. And I feel like we should be understanding of one another's boundaries, you know? So those are things to keep in mind too. Um, the other thing, because I don't have it written down, I do want to say now, is I have this rule that my therapist gave me. And the rule is, if I set a boundary and the boundary is crossed, if the boundary is crossed more than 3 times, it's time to let that person go because they don't respect your boundaries. And the thing is, people make it seem like, oh, it's just a boundary. You know, sometimes people will write off, like they'll minimize it like it's nothing. But if it makes you uncomfortable, they don't even need to know the whole story as to why it makes you uncomfortable. That is none of their business. If it makes you uncomfortable and you've brought it up to them and they keep doing it, they're not your people. They're not. Because they're not making the effort to respect your boundaries, to make sure that you're comfortable in a space with them. Now, they're not required to move the way you want you to move, the way you want them to move. They're not required to, but that's why you let them go, because you have, like I said, you have boundaries. If I don't want you to tap my shoulder, and I've asked you twice now, don't tap my shoulder. I don't like that. This is my body. I'm in charge of my body. If I don't want you to touch me, you should not touch me. Period. So if that like I said, if that boundary is crossed more than once, and I've already said, hey, I don't like that. I've already created space so that you don't do that. And you keep trying to do it, then you're not for me. You don't know what that does to me, or even if it doesn't do anything to me, I've already been vocal about it. And for me, that is actually a boundary, because I don't know why, but I do not like being tapped. It just, like, it sends me into an instant irritation, and I have not figured out why. I don't know. I just know I don't like it. And so I have that communication with my kids. Now, of course, with kids, you have to keep having the conversation because they're kids. Repetition is how they learn. So I'll go, hey, remember, mommy doesn't like being tapped. I don't like that. And they'll go, oh, sorry, mom. Like I said, I have no idea why. But I do not like being tapped. Especially because they be aggressive. Mom, like, hold on now, sir. Shoot. So, like I said, the it's up to you to protect your body, and no one else is going to do it for you. Even if you're with a partner, they may want to protect you, they may want to shield you, but they cannot shield you from everything. It's up to you to stand up for yourself and set these boundaries, to protect yourself and to love yourself and to care for yourself. So that's why boundaries are very important. So how do we make it easier? Ooh, this chair is getting old. It hurts my feet now. How do we make it easier? Knowing your needs, wants, and triggers. When you know yourself and you begin to grow and love yourself, it makes it easier. It does, because you want to protect yourself. It's like when you have a kid or when you have a partner and you love them so much that you want to protect them. That's how it is when you love yourself. You're like, I gotta protect myself. I gotta protect this part of me. I gotta, shield myself, or I have to stand up for myself. And the more you know about yourself, and the more you know about your triggers, because sometimes for me, a lot of my boundaries are set around my triggers. Boundaries are set around things that make you uncomfortable, things you're not comfortable with doing. For a physical boundary, I'm not comfortable with hugging. For a while, I wasn't. I've grown out of that, but growing up, we hugged everyone because of church, right? So even I carried that with me in school. But you cannot hug everyone, right? As a woman, even as a man, you can't hug everyone. You can't. Like I've said in a previous video, um, I have always been what the old folks call top heavy, okay? And so I would get hugs specifically because they wanted to feel me pressed up against them. You know, there's also people who have really bad energy. You don't want to hug those people. There's people who give you creepy vibes. There's people you don't know you don't want to hug. And honestly, hugging is a precious gift. If you've done research on hugging, you know that hugging is very healing. And you know that hugging is healing, hugging is powerful, and hugging is like a celebration. Like, oh my God, I just have to hug you. And so there should be boundaries around that. We shouldn't just make ourselves available to everyone. And physical touch, because that's what we're talking about, physical boundaries. Physical touch is powerful. Human touch is powerful. And so it shouldn't just be given out to everyone. And we should shield ourselves. And for me, physical boundaries are super important because my physical boundaries were violated as a child through my sexual abuse, right? But physical boundaries are important for everyone. For everyone, especially like as we're teaching children as they grow, because if that is in their mind, then they know they can see the signs before they're violated. If that happens, God forbid, but it happens. It's happening every day. And so boundaries are not always taught. They're not. I wasn't taught boundaries. And because my boundaries were violated at a very young age, my boundaries was everywhere, y'all. Especially that with the people pleasing and all the things. Y'all, boundaries was a boundary. Period. And that's why I chose to do a series on boundaries, because one, it's something that I'm still learning. And two, it's something that needs to be taught. And so I'm willing to do the research and speak on what I've learned, and I'm willing to update you on how I'm doing and how I'm growing in boundaries, because boundaries are very important. Very important. So know yourself, know your triggers, know what makes you uncomfortable. Like I said, hugging makes me uncomfortable. I hug specific people. Now I do hug coworkers. I'm a model. And so we're like always hugging each other. Oh my God, let me hug you. You're so sweet. All the things, and like, sometimes it just happens. It just, if I feel like in the moment, if I feel that mood, like I said, or if I've talked to someone, they've opened up to me, um, I do hug those people. I comfort people, in that way. So, I have grown out of my non-hugging ways, or out of hugging out of obligation, because that's what it was. It wasn't that I didn't hug, it was that I hugged out of obligation. I felt like I had to hug people. Now I know that I don't have to hug people. I hug people by choice, and I hug the people that I want to hug. Um and so that's how I move. But before, like I said, it was discomforting. And so, you, like I said, when you know yourself, you know where your boundaries need to go. And sometimes you have to experience the icky feeling to know, I need a boundary right there. I do. I need a boundary right there. And so some people, like for example, let's keep the hugging example. If I feel like I'm hugging, if I feel uncomfortable hugging men because what happened to me in high school, I might, if I still want to hug people, I might give a man a side hug so my breasts don't ever even touch him. And I'll give the females a front hug. So you set the boundary. You know what you need. And sometimes, like I said, it takes experiencing it. Sometimes you may hug one male and he's really respectful, and then you might hug another male and he's like still finding a way to grab you or push you up on him. That's the male you don't hug, honey. Leave him alone. And I can, like I said, I'm speaking from my experience, but males, you have your boundaries as well. And honestly, the hugging still works for males, because you may be in a relationship, or you may not want to be touched by her, okay? And so you could, nice to, you don't even have to shake hands. But like there does not have to be physical touch at all. And sometimes we feel like I don't want them to feel bad. But you don't want you to feel bad either. You have to take care of you. You are responsible for your life and your self-love, and you are responsible for taking care of you. You're not responsible for taking care of them and their feelings and making sure they're cool. That's up to them. Okay? It is not up to you to make sure that they feel good. It's up to you to make sure you feel good and safe and loved. So, you don't even have to even do the handshake. You just, nice to meet you. Get on, honey. So these apply, like I said, I'm speaking from a woman's point of view because this is a struggle that I have had. But it applies to males. Create space. You could even say, I'm not comfortable with that. Period. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to explain the story. How I just explained what happened to me in high school, it is unnecessary. You don't have to tell anyone your story to create a boundary. You don't have to explain yourself. This is the boundary. If you are not comfortable with the boundary that I'm setting, then we may have to limit our time together, because I don't want to feel violated every time we hang out. Period. So, let me see if I wrote something else, because I feel like I went on a tangent. When you know these things about yourself, it makes setting boundaries easier, because you are able to know where. Yep, I said that already. The more you love yourself, the more you know about yourself, the more you love yourself, the easier it will become to say no, or to create space to gain comfort. And it does get easier. I'm telling you, it does. The conversation gets easier. Because you know your worth. You set those boundaries and you begin to know your worth, and you're like, well, why am I being awkward about it? I don't like this. So why should I keep putting up with it? And so you really just grow within yourself, and it's beautiful, because it's like, it just happens. You don't have to do much work. You set the boundary. You just continue to set the boundary. And then the love, like, it's like reassurance. You're reassuring yourself that you care and love for yourself. Excuse me. It's really just, if you really think about applying what you do in a romantic relationship to what you do for yourself, you reassure your romantic partner. right? You reassure them so that they know that they're loved and appreciated and you want them in your life, and you protect them and you stand up for them in rooms that they are not in. You stand up for them in rooms that they are in, and you're there for them. My fro is doing it all of what it wants to do today. But anyways, it's the same thing for you. When you set a boundary, you're standing up for yourself. You're reassuring yourself, yes, girl, I got you. Yeah, bruh, I got you. And so it's important. Like I said, it deepens your love, and the deeper your love is, the easier it becomes for you to set that boundary and to stand up for yourself, because at the end of the day, who else is going to do it? You are responsible for your life and your love and your protection. You are responsible for you. And some of us may not have received that as a child, and so we have to double time as an adult, because we have to protect that inner child and really get that inner child to know, I got you. I may not have been able to protect you when we were kids because we was kids, but now I got you. So I do have some examples written down, but I kind of already went over them. The examples were some boundary. A boundary may be, I don't have coworkers, so you can say that verbally. You're in a setting, you're surrounded, and they're hugging everyone, and you're, I don't have coworkers. That's it. You don't have to explain shit. I don't have coworkers. Do it in your own way, though. My therapist really encourages me to do it in my own way. My favorite thing is, like, not you trying to hug me. Here you go. like that's like my favorite thing. The poking situation actually happened to me, and I was leaning outside my door saying bye, and there was a guest still in my house, and he was talking to my kid's father, and he poked me. But mind you, I'm bent over, and he pokes my side, and like by my hip, like the meat of it, poked me, and I froze because I was just so uncomfortable. One, if you've watched my trigger video, I need to see the touch coming, or I'm going to like freeze. I'm going to be triggered. I need to see the touch coming. I don't like to be touched if I don't see it coming, because it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel violated. So one, I didn't see it coming. Two, it was in that spot. I was bent over, and it was just so uncomfortable for me. And I froze because I was like, what just happened? What? And so I spoke to my therapist about it, and she was like, her favorite thing is like, uh-oh, you just did this, and so I told her, I said, for me, I'd be like, not you poking me, kind of thing like that, so make it your own. Make the boundary sound like you, but set the boundary. So you can do it vocally. Or another thing that she taught me is sometimes with some people, you'll have to learn. With some people, vocal is good. That's fine. Sometimes you have to, it has to be a what is the word that I'm looking for? Nonverbal communication. So creating space, or always having that space. You may not always be able to have the safe space, but like if someone is going around hugging, you can create space by stepping back, or turning away. Or if you are okay with the handshake, you can create space by reaching your hand out. The day's her. And like I said, that goes for males and females. If you create a space, 9 times out of 10, that girl is not going to rush you for a hug because she's already feeling awkward because you just backed up. And that's okay. Let her feel awkward. It's better for her to feel awkward than for you to feel uncomfortable. You are responsible for you and your feelings. You cannot go around making sure everyone's feelings are okay. There's human kindness and there's taking care of people, and then there's putting their needs above your own. Their needs should not become above your own, especially if they're a coworker. There's levels to this. Now, if this is your spouse, there's still supposed to be boundaries in relationships as well. We have this mind, and I don't know. For me, I was taught by Hollywood, okay, television, movies, and we have this thought process that our romantic partners and our best friends are supposed to be able to trump everything. We tell them everything, we do everything together, all the things. And so I went into relationships thinking like that. And so if my space was violated, I just dealt with it because that's my man. That's my best friend. They get to do that. No, honey, they don't. Even the little babies don't get to do it. That's why I'm teaching my kids boundaries now. We all have things that we're uncomfortable with, and it's up to us to state them. And so that is it on physical boundaries. Let me know if you need look, I was gonna say, let me know if you need help setting some boundaries and you want to talk about some. We can talk about some situations and we can talk them through via email. I don't think I have the number up yet. I don't have the number working yet, but I do have email that we can talk through. And I also have the new Instagram we can talk on as well. If you're not on Patreon, but I do have the Beautifully Imbalanced podcast Instagram. My goodness, y'all. So that is also an option. But like I said, I am doing the research. I'm learning boundaries. I'm setting boundaries, especially in the modeling industry. It is important. I feel like everybody be hugging everybody on set. And so I'm learning, it's nice meeting you. This smile, the smile can get me not get me out of a lot, but it can get me out of the hug. Nice to meet you. It's one of these. Because I naturally do that stuff. I don't know what it is. I feel like I be feeling like a cartoon character. But anyways, so I'm learning boundaries. I'm applying them. I'm applying what I learn. And like I said, as I love myself, it just deepens. It just makes it easier for me to apply. Sometimes if I don't have a boundary, it's because I don't know exactly what boundary needs to be placed. And the thing that sucks about that is that means I have to experience the discomfort over and over until I know exactly where the boundary needs to be placed. But that's how you grow. That's how you learn. And that's what I talk about in the trigger video. So we can have a what's it called? I could be a sounding board and we can brainstorm what's the best boundary for you. But yeah, reach out to me, you guys. I want an active community. I want an active healing community. And it's not always about me giving advice or telling my experience. It's about hearing your experience and learning and growing from you as well. And that's what I want the Imbalanced community to be about, is us healing together. Not me being like, I am a psych major and I'm going to teach you and be your therapist. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about us healing together, and growing and learning from one another. So that is all. Remember that you are worthy, 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 worthy always. You are worthy of physical boundaries. You are worthy of all the boundaries, emotional, physical, time, honey. You're worthy of boundaries. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of acceptance. You are worthy of healing. You have a wonderful week. Bye.